That's recorded. So thanks everybody for joining us tonight for the BaseCamp 2025 survey results and action discussion. We have a presentation. I've kept everything super simple. This is really a dialogue about the surveys that we took in and really pick your brain and hear some of maybe your thoughts to what we're seeing and responding to. First off, I just want to say thanks to everybody that responded. We had 212 survey responders. That's responders who took the time to fill out a survey. So thank you for doing that. For those of you who've been around for a while and know us, our style is if we ask you for information or survey or for improvements, we always like to communicate back what we think we heard in general and some of our possible actions. Today, all we're doing in that discussion, not all we're doing, but what we are doing in this discussion is really just saying, here's what we heard. Here's some discussion of ideas. And then we tend to finalize like the next year's BaseCamp by June and say, well, here's definitively the updates we're going to do. So just take this as the discussion phase and what we've heard. I am going to share some results with you. I have some web pages. We could dig in if anybody was really interested. But let's roll through this. So going to start off here. Sorry, I got a lot of windows going on here at the moment. Going to start off here with key results. So overarching scores, two of the key questions that we look for as far as quality of deliverable is overall satisfaction and what we call, and would you recommend us to a friend? Those are two typical data collection, consumer collection questions that are out there in the world. We asked you on a scale of 1 to 5, with a 5 being very satisfied and a 1 being very dissatisfied, to go ahead and answer the question. 97% of you gave us a top box score, a 4 or a 5. I should have broke it out. I think it was like 89% of you gave us a top box score of 5. So thank you for that. It always, it's helpful. It feels good. I got to tell you, I don't have a better way to say it. So that, we've been able to do a good job for the group and keep everybody happy. We did have 2 people respond that they were dissatisfied. No one said very dissatisfied. I'm going to talk about that in a slide or two. Would recommend, 94% of the top box said, and I said satisfied, I should say 94% top box said they would recommend us as a service. And here, the absolute 5s was actually 1 point higher. So I think it was 89 and 90, if I remember right. And the probablys were a little lower. So it gives us a pretty good feeling. Are combining our 4 and 5s or just looking at our 5s, what's known as top box scoring. That for those of you who responded, we're doing a pretty good job. So thanks. But obviously, our goal is always improvement. So we look deeper into what was happening down here in some of these lesser scores. And that's where having the comments are so great. So we dig into the comments and then we do some learning. And I'll tell you, for me, we used AI to read the answers. It was kind of cool. And they really didn't match. Like, I have read every single one of your comments at least twice. And it was shocking that it didn't match. I think I would have thought it would have done a better job of combing through, but it didn't. And we only did it as an experiment because the survey collection company has it. So we're like, let's try it. So basically, over 40% of the people who had a dissatisfied, maybe any of the below 4 and 5 numbers, when I found their comments of why they might be dissatisfied or why you might be on this call, someone who answered or in this meeting. And again, feel free to ask questions or make comments as we go. Maybe I'll ask some engaging questions here. 40% of those that scored satisfied mentioned a general or specific expectation they do not see as being met, even though they're happy. So their comment might be like, I love BaseCamp, but I thought I would get this, or I want this. I don't mean like they're saying I want, like demanding, but it was an expectation that they had coming into the system. So in reality, the number one driver of that was individual analysis. Like one way or another, there's this expectation that one of the things BaseCamp does is it gives you individual analysis. Like you were going to get reviews of each workout and stuff like that. And the second one was training plan schedule did not meet personal schedules. That also received a very high mention rate. Like I needed to take Wednesdays off, and that didn't match my schedule. That's this probably is as we've grown to this point, this probably has been our biggest growth problem. And it's this concept of setting expectations. We charge $500 for a 16-week program where you get strength, nutrition, training, and mental performance. Even though we had to upgrade the mental performance boot camp, you still got the fundamental program underneath that. What we can't do is one-on-one coaching, turn this into one-on-one coaching for that price, even though we have that available. And honestly, this is a question I need to spend more time talking to anybody. And if you have feedback on this, please put it in the chat. I don't know fully how to change this. Like, here's our action solutions. And I'm saying me, and I mean we. We're just going to have to do a better job of communicating the expectations, both of what we are and what we're not. And it was funny, there was a couple of people who made those expectations, and I said, so I wrote some people back, and there's at least one on this list that I've written back and had an exchange and conversation with. And I said, why didn't you sign up for one-on-one coaching? And they just didn't understand that was maybe a vehicle that they could do this as. So one of the things I'll tell this group, of all the people in BaseCamp, and I said this the other day, and someone kind of sent a message back that they were surprised by it. Over 100 of our BaseCamp members are privately coached. Yeah, and Art puts a really good question in Q&A. He says, I wonder if there's any commonality in feedback between experienced BaseCampers and first-timers. It's a first-timer issue, and this year it was really big from first-timers. So, and we didn't change how we talk about the program all that much. So it's our role, our improvements. One, we need to communicate those expectations better so people are aware. Again, these people weren't saying, like, if you read their comment, they're like, I love BaseCamp. Like, and this is really cool. It's just there's some expectation not being met. And there was 2 people dissatisfied in the entire survey. 212 people, 2 people were dissatisfied. So we're not talking about numbers of dissatisfied. So we're going to communicate expectations better. We're going to get people to understand you can go through, if you're a one-on-one coached athlete, you get BaseCamp for free. You get a coach walking you through all the steps, changing all your workouts, making sure your Wednesdays, if you need Wednesdays off, are off. You get all the feedback, you participate in the challenges, you go to the public workouts. All that stuff can happen together. And I'm going to be very blunt here for people. There's a couple of names I see that have been through this a couple of times. We can't afford to bring 12 coaches to the table, full-time coaching, all this public stuff that we do, all the group rides and things like that, and read everybody's account. It's just not feasible for us to do that. So we're going to make that available. 2 things we're considering is doing a 1-hour coach consult. You can do that now. We don't promote it maybe as much as we can do it. We've probably done 10 so far this year, where a coach just comes in, looks through your process, gives you feedback, adjusts maybe your program a little bit, helps you with like technical questions. There always is like an underlying technical question, like I can't quite figure this out in Swift or Training Peaks, and gets you through. So we're going to make a bigger deal and just letting people know that's available. And we're going to look to upgrade our training plan selection. I'm going to talk about this when I talk about some of the technology solutions next, but a little down, a couple more slides. But we have some opportunities to further develop our training plan selection and implementation. Brian puts an excellent point in chat. He says, Strava AI analytics. We've looked at AI analytics. It's problematic but it could be something on the future. But to be honest, what makes us special is community. And I'd rather spend my energy building a great place to train, fun camaraderie and those things. But I can see AI playing a role for us in the future. All right, pressing on. So looking at some of the areas of strength, were simply what areas did we improve the most, looking at last year's surveys to this year, because they're the same surveys, we keep them the same so they reconcile. Our biggest area of growth was our strength program. It definitely improved. You read all the comments, it improved the most, like significantly. And that doesn't mean everybody was happy. You can see some dissatisfied people in strength. It's hard to make everybody happy in strength training program. You might not have the right gym or whatever it is, but I think overall we look at a pretty good, and we had a fair amount of neutrals because only about half of you are doing the strength program. So neutral people they're not doing it. Or they selected NA. So it could be one of those others. The main reason and connection in the comments is the new strength builder, the new Training Peak strength builder system, where you can use the app in the gym, kind of watch the videos. We need to improve some of the videos and this and that. We understand the challenges there, but we've noticed higher satisfaction and a much higher compliance in strength training this year. And that's great. Like, I know I've gotten to almost all of mine. I missed one like 2 weeks ago and I was all guilty. The next area of improvement we see is our education is scored significantly higher, not significantly higher, but a good bit higher than in the past. And I'd like to say I could figure out that one and say why, but I can't. Maybe it's the content. We've layered in more content this year and a little bit of different stuff. I will tell you the number one question that we get there is more advanced content. That's really hard to do. From a technical development, from a time consumption, and from a comprehension way, it's something we're thinking deeply about how we can do better next year, but it's a challenge. But overall, education content was improved. And I'll go a little faster here. Another big area of improvement was coach feedback. And this is a little bit assumption, some of it from comments, just having more coach voices in here. We're having, Paul and Jim are leading the early morning dawn patrol. Jill and Liz are leading the late evening. So we've been able to expand your exposure to coaches. We have coaches doing coach meetups with Lori, Brian, Greg, and Karen kind of leading that charge. And then they're hosting weekly, doing the previews and creating stuff. So we have more coach voices. We think that's helping. Another big improvement was communication before BaseCamp. We did a much better job of onboarding people, even though that was part of a problem that you're going to see here shortly. For the people who opened the emails and all the communication, they had a much easier onboarding than the ones who did not. So that's like a good news, and there's a little bit of bad news underneath there. We then take a look at elements and usage, and we ask you to score how much you use things, and frequently, occasionally, never. So Facebook group, this is the usage, so frequent, occasional, never. The locker room is the most frequent utilized, and that's been a nice uptick this year. We continue to try to streamline that and make it easier to find the things we're looking for. And actually, the weekly emails took a significant year-over-year jump in usage. They were actually the most increased item that you use. So of these interactions, I'm going to parking lot Facebook, because we all know that's going to be a discussion. So I'm going to parking lot for a moment. Some of the areas that were interesting utilizations, community-led meetups had a little less attendance this year as far as the way people scored it. And the public workouts had more attendance. So we increased the ratio this year. We had 4 full. We had 4 last year, but I think people understood the rhythm and the timing and the scheduling better this year. So I think that has helped. But we just had, and I know in my own workouts, and I know in Tina and Namrita's, and we're seeing a lot of base campers. So that's awesome. So less of the community-led your engagement in your community-led meetups, and more in the public workouts. We look at and ask the question of favorite elements, and I'm just giving some background. We're going to dig into the tougher stuff here. When we ask people to select their top 3 of all these elements, the training plan and workouts scored the highest. That's historically always been true. It's what you're here for, right? So you'd expect that one to be at the core. Education is the second highest, as you can see here. And then the group workouts are the 3rd highest. And then the challenges are the 4th highest. And then, just so you might not see it, social community is the 5th highest. So there's your top 5 of the engagement. And I think that really speaks who we are as a training community. I mean, that's what we wanted to create in the first place. It's still the underlying reason and core of who we are, not what we are, but who we are. And I think we'll continue to see that. So I'm just giving some highlight. Now, when we look, one of the problems of this year that really hit us hard in the first couple of weeks, one, we had a weird calendar year. It's like, we need to fix this whole Thanksgiving, Christmas thing. Like, they should just put me in charge and let me place it where I want to place it. It would make things simpler. So you had sort of this extra week month, and it was just a weird time of getting the schedule. But also in the first 3 weeks, we introduced 2 new technologies. And that's harder than you think, when the same time where people who might have been using Zwift are trying to master doing workouts in Zwift, or they're new to Zwift. So we had the Strength Builder was launched and kicked off in our strength program. We did actually launch it in the pre-boarding, in the transition month for alumni. This was really well received. We need to continue to improve our game using the Strength Builder. It works a little different than older programs, and we're figuring that out now. I will tell you, we're going to lean heavily into this next year, which will be great, because we don't need to relearn it either. That's a big deal. Like, learning, I can't tell you the number of times in the transition I said, don't use your laptop, use the app. And then as soon as everybody used the app, they're like, oh, this is great, it works. So like, you get over all those little hurdles. Now we'll have enough people experienced, it'll be done. This is also empowering. I can tell you one of the things that we'll do, it's going to allow us to expand and make more options available in the strength program. And it's also led to us, and we're actually going to announce this next week, because it's not related fully to BaseCamp, but utilizing new technologies through the Strength Builder relationship that we have, we're going to launch a new strength assessment and custom strength plans. We've tested it, particularly Tina and I were still deep in the custom training. Like, that's why I feel bad, like, because I have a custom strength plan and I feel doubly bad if I missed it. So what this happens is, we have Menachem, who we all know through BaseCamp, but we also have Lori Thompson. Lori is moving towards her PhD in biomechanics, actually, I think is where her PhD is coming. She's a long-term strength trainer, excellent at what she does. The 2 of them are doing these custom programs. And basically what it is, you sign up for the custom program. You sign up for the custom program, you answer a questionnaire, but then you have to film yourself doing about 10 movements. And that takes about a half an hour to 40 minutes. It's 30 minutes if somebody's helping you. It's about an hour if you're doing it yourself. Like, I did mine myself, and I was like, this is dumb. I should have Kathy help me. But I pulled it off solo. It just takes longer because you have to set up the camera in a place and do your things. Then they will do a custom strength assessment. You get a strength assessment movement report back, which I think Tina and I, who did the full assessment, Nemrita already has a strength trainer. I was super, I mean, it picked up all my problems that I already knew about. It was pretty good. And then then a 12-week strength plan is written specifically to work on those areas. So just know that's coming. That will be part of BaseCamp 2026. It will probably be an add-on charge. You can choose one of the existing plans. You can do exactly what you're doing now. But if you want to uptick, there will be an uptick to be able to do that next year. So it's fully customized to you. Since it works through Strength Builder, it's also in there with your plans. You can execute in the gym the same way. And since the strength coach and your BaseCamp coach would be working together, or they know BaseCamp program, it will align with the program and the periodization you're doing. So same technology, that'll relieve some stress now that we've mastered this. And Training Peaks has got some really nice updates coming to this program, by the way, if you use it. And you actually started seeing one a couple of days ago. You now have history. You can go back and look in your history. So you see some other things coming soon. So no new technology, better utilization of what we have. The areas we're going to improve as a whole, and I should have put Hexus there. I'm sorry, Namrita, I totally forgot that slide. It's been a long day. Same with Hexus. We're in a long-term relationship with Hexus. It's going to be great. There's some updates coming that they're working on and doing that are going to empower us. We will run the program exactly as it was run this year. Many of us have gotten familiar and how to use it and already good at it. We'll be able to then, instead of just, we spent 4 or 5 weeks teaching people to use the app, the software, and we know that there was a little bit of a glitchiness in the first 3 weeks that we rolled out, but we're pretty good now. Imagine where we'll be next year. So that will be there. We'll have a great program there. Areas of improvement. So here's why it's really important. The number one thing we want to do, so overarching, is we want to streamline these services and have everything flow through your Training Peaks account and be able to use that as communication. That is a goal because we really feel it will make everything easier to track. So one of the goals that we hope for, that we'll be able to see our nutrition in our Training Peaks. I know that's an absolute goal of Hexus as fast as it can get done, but it's Training Peaks that needs to do the work. So they're kind of subject to their schedule. But that would mean, just like if you had MyFitnessPal, you could not only see your app, have your targets, but your coach would see what you actually do in the account, or you could see it, BaseCamp coaches can see it, whoever. Same with Strength Builder. It's now, the timing is working. That's the other update they put. Now they have little timers. Team, did you notice that? Yeah, right. It's cool because I usually use a timer for my rest period. Now I can use theirs. It's a nice little upgrade. How we're integrating Coach's Corner, and even some other things we've laid out. Namrita and I in the last week have been really talking about how to block the 4 cycles out with a better focus, a better understanding. Like, what are we looking at? Fitness, conditioning, mental toolboxes, all the things that we're doing so that it all is flowing better through Training Peaks. The second thing we want to do is a concept, even though I used a little diagram, like it's, oh, this is there. I just stole this from the internet. We really are taking the challenge of trying to organize the curriculum better. It's hard because it's hard to get, some people don't want to use Facebook, and some people don't want to use email, and some people don't want to log into the website. Some people can't remember their login, and things like that. So we take a multi-channel approach towards communicating these things to everybody to ensure at least you're exposed to them. But that makes something that's already kind of overwhelming more overwhelming. So probably when we look at organizing the curriculum, we're also trying to think of more of the user control format, where you can kind of select your communication formats. And we just need to figure out how to do that through, here's a curriculum. One of the things I saw a fair amount in the comments, I would say 10 times, 8 times, is, is there one list? Like, even if we just had a list, right? I guess that would be a curriculum. Like, and every time we add something, we add it to the list, and then people can go and put a check mark next to the list. Like, yes, I've seen that. Yes, I've seen that. And the reality is, you can look at everything a little bit. And that is a goal. All right, let's get into then our key improvement discussions. I'm going to end up parking lotting this one because I'm going to come back to it because it's probably the longest one. We're trying to find a better solution than Facebook. And 4 people said use Discord. 3 people said use Teams. 3 people said use why can I not think of the name, Slack. Couldn't think of it for a moment. And those are services we would use them. And we've tested them all time and time again. It's another technology that's a barrier for people. It doesn't have the full community communication capabilities. Like if you go onto Discord, it's very gamey and gaming, but there's threads and there's areas and there's rooms, and it's hard to track things and stuff like that. So we're going to come back to this discussion. One of our two biggest focuses of the summer, you'll hear the other one in a moment, is we're going to tackle this and try to come up with the best answer we can. So just stopping for a second here. Cindy in questions, and Cindy asks, if we have feedback for Strength Builder and Training Peaks, where should we submit it? Submit it to Training Peaks. Just go to the bottom, to the footer of any page, and they have a feedback, it's called user voice, that you can submit feedback. Shannon asks, will it be available for those one-on-one coaching included or additional charge? Shannon, I assume you meant the custom strength plan? Yes. It'll be available to all athletes. We're going to turn it on next week. Coached athletes, BaseCamp athletes, everybody can have the customized strength program. If that wasn't it, let me know. Now let's also just look at some quick chat review. Jackie had an idea. I know this was back when I was talking about expectations. Jackie suggests maybe you could host some happy hours with particular interests so people could connect and discuss their interests without having to produce more content. That's an excellent idea. Utilize some community to kind of start grouping themselves together. That's a great idea. Thank you for that. Another one would be you could consider having BaseCamp alumni mentor new BaseCampers. This could be around specific topics, for examples, getting Zwift to work and other things. We absolutely are going to do that. I don't want to say absolutely because you never know what's going to change from now and then, but we are 99.9% going to do that. And that's why we're training all these new coaches that you're seeing, so that we have a broader set and we really see new people coming into the system being assigned to a coach who can really help them through those first couple of weeks of things like that. So even beyond just doing it with ambassadors, even though we'll probably ask for ambassador help also, we're on the same page. Because what happened this year was hard. The first couple of weeks, we had a lot of people new to technology, and it was a struggle. I'll show you on my next slide. Okay, I'm leaving the rest sit because they're gone. The next, this is a tough one, but it came up enough times it would be inappropriate to not address it. We had about 10 or 11 comments on this. The negativity of the Facebook group. And look, I'm going to answer this at a very high level, a very honest level with no political bend, but I'm going to go there to this degree. Times are a little more stressful. Don't care about your politics. I don't care about your stance. I have my own. You want to talk to me about it one-on-one, we can have a great conversation. But I do care when I see everybody being more tense, more stress, just everything seems a little bit harder, regardless of where your politics are or the reality. We need to keep BaseCamp a place where we can put a little wall around that. I don't mean a wall of bury your head in the sand, but maybe a place to go where we can feel a little better, let go of some of that stress, engage in community positivity, and maybe lift each other up a little while we're here versus push it down. But somehow we have to correct that using the Facebook group as a dumping ground for negativity. I'm just going to be very honest. A lot of people do it. Like you can't wait to finish the workout and then just come in and slam, like how bad. One of the reasons I wrote the resiliency article this weekend started out with words matter, everybody. Like words matter. Like they have impact on our attitudes and how we feel about ourselves and others and communities. So what we're going to do next year is try to focus people on that mission, because our team is passionate about it. We want this to be an uplifting, engaging community, training, working hard, accomplishing challenges, doing the things that, are much more positively impact on our mental health, on our physical health, on our positivity in the world. And we're just going to get it there. Technically, with that being said and done, we also need to move some of the technical support chat off to the side, because that's where some of the frustration was too. Like the number of people who have told us to fix Swift this year has been pretty high, but I've got news for everybody. We can't fix Swift. Like we can't. We'd like to, and we're going to look at some other options and better ways to do it, but we can't fix it. So that's a focus there. Next one is the website's glitchy and people are putting comments. It's slow. That's what I mean by glitchy was the first comment I saw on the list when people were commenting on it. And that's true. And it's slow because it's subscription level. So we use Wix. Somebody asked that in the Facebook group a couple of days ago. We use Wix because Wix is a notoriously slow website, but they're the only group that can manage subscription levels without exorbitant costs. One of our goals in BaseCamp is to make it as affordable as possible so we can be inclusive and we don't have an economic barrier for being part of it and getting training, strength, nutrition, and mental performance all in one goal. So we have to be judicious. It is on our group plan to upgrade the website. We're hoping to be able to make a significant upgrade. And that's probably our number one technical, because we need to be able to manage subscribers and have a little more unique areas and some other things better. So it's hot on the list is to upgrade. So that's on our list. I mean, we're basically talking about a full custom overhaul. And that's, as anybody who knows web, that's expensive. And we're going to do what we can. So if you guys know anybody really good at designing web stuff, send them to us. They need to be good. That's the thing, though. But we do know it's there and we're going to address it. Number 3, provide more direct feedback to participants. This is the biggest struggle we have. And I'm going to put chat. I'd love to hear some of your, if you have thoughts or whatever. We can't afford, and again, I'm just a straight, business isn't my thing. I coach, right? So we simply can't afford to do one-on-one coaching for the group community and discuss like workouts. The whole process is built. We demo a workout, we show what we're looking at, you kind of look at your own, and over the course of the 16 weeks, you figure out how to do that. One of the things that was suggested about 3 or 4 times is we charge per a review and have a coach do a review for $10, $20. To be honest, I don't want to do that. I never want it to be like, in this world today, wouldn't it be a better world if we understood that if we want to improve, like we're frustrated these days with service, with product and whatever, but yet the first thing we go to is we want it cheaper. Like, what if we rewarded quality with pay, like, and took care of companies that did it right? Wouldn't everything be such a better model of saying, instead of it having to be the cheapest, be the better? I'd rather find a better solution that fits in BaseCamp that doesn't say, oh, $10 per review and $10 for that and $10 for this. Now, don't get me wrong, a boot camp that gives you 4 weeks of mental performance, that's worth it. I think that was $100 this year, $99, right? A fully custom strength plan based on an in-depth assessment of your exactly needs, that's worth it. It's not $10, that's going to be more. I don't want to be in a situation where it's like, hey, put $10 in the slot and you get one pull of the wheel arm and somebody's going to review a workout. So what I think we're going to do is lean into the coaching version, maybe do a higher touch level version. So maybe we have tiers, because we also had some people say, I just want the plan. Like they just want the low end, $299, give me the plan and the public workouts and I'll take that. So maybe we tier it out a little bit, but we're so afraid. We don't want to break up the community, because somebody was asking me today about BaseCamp and they're like, well, what do you sell? And it's like, we sell community. I mean, it is what we are. I mean, so we need to cautiously think through that. We are going to consider how we do coach consults. So I'm going to read the 2 comments that came in because somebody gave feedback here. Linda says, new riders may not have any idea what one-on-one coaching costs. perhaps mentioning a range so they understand that they are getting for their money. It's such a bargain, but they may not understand that. That's fair. And that's part of the process. I have to agree. We have to do it better. And that's what I mean by set expectations, I guess. We're just not good at saying no. But the reality is we need to do that better. Laura writes, man, that is a tough one. I already think one-on-one coaching is a great deal, and you just increase the price. BaseCamp is group coaching. I think setting expectations up front and giving people the option to switch to one-on-one coaching early is the right way to address that. Laura, I do think that's the key, because I don't want to charge you more. I don't say you have to go hire a coach, because we pay that coach. It's not like we're getting charged more. The coach makes the money. But I want people to have the experience that they want, so they're satisfied. And what I really want people to do is to improve physically, get fitter, faster, stronger, mentally perform better, feel better about performing, and let cycling really be a joy in your life and not an anxiety and intention. I want them to better understand community in cycling. I want better understanding of equipment and aerodynamics and why you should attack up hills and not down hills and things like that. That's what I want. I don't want people to have a barrier getting those things. So we need to find the right way to size that in. Beth says community is key. I know, isn't it? It really is. It's like, man, we've got to just keep preserving that, and it's so important. Cindy says, agree, don't apologize for not wanting to commoditize your coaching. Many folks are always going to want more, but those who have tried other programs and have had the opportunity to compare and contrast, they have no idea the value BaseCamp is. Thank you for saying that. Yes, Beth, agree. Beth says, the other Beth, Hufflepuff, says the community is gold. Don't break it. No way. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you some other slides how we're going to ensure we protect it. Kristen says, for someone who paid I'm reading, you all can see these. These are all to everyone. I forget we're in chat, not questions. Yeah, better communication about the differences, I think, will help us a lot. Craig says, as a first timer, a coach review maybe late in cycle 1 and mid cycle 3 would help me understand how I'm doing. Plus, it would get me exposure to what one-on-one coaching. I didn't know about the coach consulting option. Yeah, so we could do a better job. I mean, we've done a handful of them lately. We need to do a better job of promoting that. My hesitation is, and this is where I'm always bad, I don't even know what it costs. Tina, Namrita? Yeah, I think it's $75. We're always trying to be, we want people to be able to access this great information and coaching, so we keep it reasonable price. Don't hold me to that. It's on the website. It's in the group. Okay, next point. More group rides and meetups. Yes, I think next year we'll be able to add a 12 o'clock on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. Here's the struggle. We do the public group rides on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We would turn everything to be meetup. The public group rides have a little more energy, but meetups are limited to the number of people. So if we do like our big Tuesdays and Thursdays, we can only have 100 people in there. And I know my rides would break that number of base campers, so people would get excluded. So the reason we do them as public rides, the reason we do them as public rides is just to get the numbers. That's the same problem why we run multiple challenges. Tina runs into it all the time, putting a challenge together. You can only have 100 people in a group. And if you have 2 coaches, now you have 98, you know what I mean? So we use the public version of Zwift. We are going to add more weekend rides. We started out with more weekend rides this year, but nobody came early. So we probably should have went deeper on that. We probably should have went started again in January, maybe might have been a better idea. So we'll do more weekend rides. The problem with the weekend rides is your lifestyle gets more individual. Like generally, we're all kind of working in the weekdays and this happens, generalization. But on the weekends, family life, this way, that way, you have a lot more. So it's a little harder to put it all together. Um, Also, and I'll tell you, this is going to be, and I have one more slide after this, and I'll open up for discussion. I'll even unmute you so you can talk and jump on too. I'd love to hear opinions. Training Peaks bought a service, and now they have Training Peaks Virtual, and they are steaming away. It's interactive with Training Peaks. It's a direct link. It's got a lot of cool things coming. If they can do it, because we wouldn't need a Zwift membership, it's free. As well, it's not free, it's part of your premium, but when you're in BaseCamp, we're paying your premium Training Peaks account, which costs you $20 a month. And just think about that. Like you go through 4 months, that's, well, I guess you can pay annually, and it's about $10 a month. It's $50. But now, then we can also eliminate this Zwift fee, which there's $20 a month, and do more through Training Peaks. Now, I'm not going to commit that until September, what we can do through Training Peaks, because they need some technology upgrades. We already have a team in there. If you're one-on-one coaching and you know that that's a free, one-on-one coaches, we pay your premium. You can shut off your Zwift in the summer, use Training Peaks Virtual. Just search out the BaseCamp team and join the team. We have nice little kits in there and everything already. We're rocking and rolling. It's moving very fast. Training Peaks, I was in the acquisition meeting, like I knew they were going to buy it. And I have been in one or two of their planning meetings. I don't do much with Training Peaks, but they were asking me because of BaseCamp. And most of my stuff is more analytical. And I've seen their roadmap. They're going to do some really cool stuff. It's going to get bigger, better, faster. That's where we'll wait and see into the fall if they get it there and make the improvements and make it a good Zwift competitor. And I don't think we'll do one or the other. I think we'll do both. So experiment with Training Peaks Virtual more next year. I think Zwift is a place that you're going to have a hard time replacing the energy and the numbers of Zwift. But if our customers have a free place they can work out, and we have some activities, we put together some group rides, run a group over there, this and that, it might be a nice option for people who don't want to pay Zwift, because that's $80 for 4 months that you're paying a Zwift that you would save. I will, the disappointing slide, I guess, I'm going to put this out here, then I have Q&A. We are going to have to increase prices next year, everybody. We're not going to get away. Most of you, those of you that are one-on-one coach, we sent an email out. We haven't raised our prices for BaseCamp. If you look what you've actually paid, kind of bouncing whether you got a discount or not, it's been the same price, and it's been $549, but we do a lot of discounting to $499 at times. It hasn't increased in 4 years. And we just can't keep doing that anymore. And that it's just part of it, the way it's going to go up. I hate saying that because we try to do everything at a cost level that is inclusive to everybody. And, we're concerned where pockets and wallets will be in the next couple of months. But it's a tough time to be a small business, and we're just getting hit in every direction. It's that simple. And we just need to keep moving a little forward to make it work. I will tell you also, part of that is we're not going to grow. We've been gently growing the last couple of years. We're not going to grow anymore. For the main driver reason is Nemrita and Tina and myself and Debbie and Kathy, we won't survive more. It's a lot. We all, and it's such an amazing team. I've been working 24/7. None of us have taken a day off or a weekend off or anything. We've just been churning out to keep up with the numbers. We're only growing because we're not going to grow anymore because we can't do it. And it's going to suffer. Like the product quality is going to suffer. So we are going to the price increase as part of that. It's going to help us cover our costs. Hopefully we'll deliver a better product, everything more streamlined. That's it in a nutshell. I'm going to go back to the Facebook page. I think I just blew by it. We would love to get another solution, but I'm telling you something, it just works. Like there's an element of communication we can't beat. We're, as part of our website, there's some custom things we could do that we're going to look at. Like, how many people here have know, and this is be a technology nerd, like Blue Sky, that's getting suddenly kind of popular, the social network. Um, that's like a skin, like you could buy that underlying technology and implement it in systems. Um, and that's something we're going to look at doing, and maybe to find a custom solution. I don't know. I think it's 50-50 that we can do better than what the Facebook group actually ends up doing. We need to leverage it better. Also, there's some apps that Debbie and I are exploring that'll allow us to run better chats and separate off technical issues like we started doing after the first month, and that helped a lot. We also, Debbie and I are looking deeply at AI and how to make AI a help desk AI. And we've been training, I'll be very honest with you, we've been training AI. And it's kind of scary. It's going to be the killer robot help desk, the way it seems to be going. So maybe we have in your Facebook group an AI help desk where you ask it and it surfaces and answers, and that's a way we could go. Not that if you don't post, you still get all the coaching answers, this and that, but if you just need to figure out like how to get this workout, or how do I find my workout in Zwift or something like that, AI can answer that right now better than we can, which is pretty scary. So that's really the tackle. We'll come back with a full answer by September there. That's going to take longer to see what we can do. We know Facebook is a barrier. There's just people who don't use it, but we got to get a solution that works. Okay, back to Q&A. I'll read a couple of comments. If you want to say something, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you could just say it. Or if you want to make a comment about anything you're hearing here, I'm going to read comments while that happens just to see. Cindy loves the okay. Laura points out there are more meetups than there were last year. Yeah, Laura, in the weekdays there are. We used to have one more on the weekends, but next year we'll go to two. But that we did put more in the weekdays. That's what we did. We moved them into the weekdays because they get much better attendance. And they've been fun. Greg and Brian and Lori and Karen have done a great job of leading meetups. They each developed their own personality and their own fun. So that's awesome. So thanks for saying that. Jackie, you load your workout and execute in the smaller group of BaseCamp members. Oh, Namrita, that's you answering, Jackie. Thank you. Yeah, Jackie, if you don't, and that's what we got to make sure. Yeah, you just jump in and you load your workout. You all stay together, but you're all doing different workouts. Cindy loves the idea of the Zwift. John says the only issue with Training Peaks Virtual is the limited road network. Everything else is fantastic. I used it all with BaseCamp. Yeah, they're coming with a bunch more routes, and actually, you're going to see that one probably pretty soon. So they're making a big push. Matt says no problem with price increase. In my opinion, still amazing value. Thank you. Cindy says ditto. Barbara says, yep, agree. Thank you. Blue Sky is like Twitter. Yeah, but there's an underlying technology in there that we can lean into. Nancy says, what you all provide for us in BC is priceless. Having to raise prices to survive in today's environment is totally understandable. Don't feel bad. It's the investment I've ever made myself. Aha, you're gonna make me cry. That's awesome. I appreciate you saying that. Hopefully others will see it the same. We don't really have a choice at this stage. It is what it is. So, okay, does anybody want to put a thought? What are we missing? Like, do you have something you want to add? Didn't see on my list. I know we haven't heard from Tina and Nemri. Like, I was supposed to do the presentation days ago, and I got it done about an hour ago because it's been so busy. So they didn't have a chance. All right, Cindy. Let's hear from Cindy as some other chat. Let me see how to do this. Cindy, I am going to find your name, and it should have just said you can unmute. I can't turn your camera on, but you can talk now.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can. Hi.
Hi. I was just gonna, it just hit me right as we got to this point. Think about all this feedback and all this stuff, and we haven't even got to one of the very much to one of the most exciting things that it's coming up, which is the new team. And so the BaseCamp team. And what I was thinking is that this was a great time to get the survey on the camp, but it'll be interesting to see as well. I'm excited about the opportunity to hopefully run into other base campers, over the course of the summer. And I'm going to make my way up to now to what is it, Gravel Worlds, whether I race or not, because it's close enough to drive to, just to make sure I can meet some of the folks I've been riding with for a few years. So just wanted to kind of give that a little shout out and say that I know it's early days, but I'm pretty excited about that.
I could agree more. I think it's great. People are seeing each other at events. Even if you look at the lists in the Explore team, there's a lot of events with a fair amount of base campers going. It's going to be awesome. We'll be at Lauf Gravel Worlds. I'm surprised Namrita hasn't started talking trash to me yet, but we're going to be racing it out of Gravel Worlds. So we're going there. Okay, so thanks, Cindy. If you could mute yourself, because I'm not sure. Oh, you're good. You did. So Matt, I see your hand. You should be able to talk now.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Matt.
So yeah, it's not really anything in terms of what you might have missed or anything extra. It's just while listening to tonight's presentation, and there's question, mention of people maybe not aware of one-on-one coaching or quite what BaseCamp group coaching entailed. Just from my own experience, starting my first year was last year. Everything was answered for me on the website. From the tab for what is group coaching through to there was FAQs. I went into it, in my mind, understanding what I was getting. A group coaching, it's not one-on-one. There's not the bandwidth to give everybody personal feedback. That was all perfectly clear to me. But then when I did get into BaseCamp, the thing that stunned me and bowled me over and made me come back again this year was there was so much more. What I didn't realize was there was all of this education and the big part, the community. So just from my perspective, it's all, it seemed to be all written out and very clear. So I'm not sure. Maybe, I guess there's two types of people in the world: people who read the instruction book and people who don't. But I'm an instruction book guy.
Got it. Yeah, and that is part of the challenge. It's how you present information. And we just need to do a better job of presenting it. Okay, so, and I'll tell you, one of the areas that I think is going to help that the best is this. Like, if we can lean into stream, like we had a lot of new technology this year, and that was more impactful than I think anybody realized, including us. Like, I remember, like, when 2 weeks out, we're like, oh, this is going to be interesting, because every little new thing is like, where do I push the button? How do I get my carbs up on Hexus? Why won't, Strength Builder play the video on my laptop? You have those things that happen. I think if we can, now that we've learned those and we know that they're all going, deeper and deeper into the relationship of being on that dashboard, which we call Training Peaks, I think let alone that will just make it'll make learning and figuring out the things you're doing more intuitive and easier, which could reduce the questions overall. All right, final question. Does anybody else, you could raise your hand. You want to give us, is there an improvement? There's something, and this is preliminary. We'll come out in the summer and be like, bam, here it is 2020. This year, we're really happy with the training plan. We're doing more and dynamic things. And I have to say, what's cool is like, stuff we were doing last year, you notice how everybody now is saying, oh, we need more variation in when we're riding the winter. Oh, we need more cadence work. And it's like, we've been doing that for years. We've been able to stay ahead of a lot of the curves there. We do have new training plans coming. I'm already working on next year's training plan, because this one worked really well. And if I wait till the summer, I'll forget like what I wanted to upgrade and all my news. So we're already building that. So you can expect to see a new and more plans. I will tell you, because I said I would. The other thing that happens here is we're going to be able to access an API through Training Peaks. So right now we're having to do a lot of the work manually to load plans and do the macro that selects plans. Is gonna make Debbie survive. Poor Debbie has to load all those plans, but now we'll have API direct access. So it's going to be easier to switch plans or customize plans or do some other work, which will be another really nice uptick in our partnership with Training Peaks, really working with us to make it easier to bring a program to you. If you go into one-on-one coaching, you're going to get your premium account still covered with Training Peaks. Last year, we didn't have a Training Peaks discount. We have one this year. I actually have it, Tina. I need to make sure I get it to you. Debbie has it too. And we will have everybody who wants to upgrade their Training Peaks account if you want to stay on premium going forward. I meant to say that. Okay. I think that's all our feedback. Tina and Emery, you guys just got kind of got horse roped in that. Do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, I mean, I just want to read Laura's comment because I appreciate it and totally agree. And she said, I think that having this meeting and honest discussion about what's going well or not is a really unique part of this community. So thank you for that. And I totally agree. We really appreciate all of you taking the extra time to do the survey, to come tonight, to give us your honest thoughts. The community, and that's all of you, is what makes this. And Cindy, I agree with you too. I think us launching the team for the summer will really kind of reinforce it. I know that historically, when we leave virtual group coaching, we're all kind of like, it's kind of a letdown. And now I don't see it like that. We're just excited to, make even more friendships and conquer more challenges outside for the rest of the year. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the future. I think we have been talking a lot and there's a lot more discussions coming, especially when we think about community, Facebook, the website. But yeah, we just appreciate the feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, I would just second that and say thanks to everyone who took the time to give us that feedback. And really, we all read it multiple times, all of it. So it's just a huge part of thinking about what steps to take next is being able to see that. So thanks for being invested enough to take the time and to share. It means a lot.
Agreed. Thanks everybody for being part of tonight. I'll post this recording and let people listen. So if you have any feedback you want to add, post it there. Otherwise than that, we really appreciate you being on tonight. We'll talk to you soon. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.